people that waited in line just to share this experience of Venom, Candyman, Night of the Living Dead, The Rock, Final Destination. But I want you to know you are now entering the
Cinema
Chop Shop with a top and the pop. Boom, boom, boom.
The Cinema Chop Shop.
What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop, so park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit the like, the share, and the subscribe button. And today, I'm here with a little bit of news in the horror community or just movies in general. But I have the usual guests with me, Senior Del Boy of Movie Mash, Copycat Reviews, and countless other channels. He even has an escort service if you guys are interested.
And OnlyFans.
Oh yeah, that too. Forgot about that. It's called Del Boy Rocks Your Socks. Yeah. Anyway, how you been, man? How you been?
Living the dream. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. You know,
what's the weather like over there in California or LA?
It's actually a little gloomy. It's been gloomy lately, which I guess it's normal because it's always June gloom. We have this shit called June gloom over here, where it's always gloomy in June, and then afterwards it gets hot as shit. So I'm not looking forward to the hottest shit part, but you know, I'm cool with the June gloom. What's the weather like over there?
Same. It's gloomy, but it's hot. You know that kind of sticky feeling where it's just you get headaches over it. That's how it is today. And hopefully this video we're doing will relieve that headache or make it worse.
Make it worse? Yeah, don't worry, I'll make it worse. So I want to open up with one of the more interesting topics. So if you guys are like in the horror community, I know you guys have seen this damn poster floating around of a Freddy movie coming out. It was called Fred, and supposedly it was supposed to be directed by Rob Zombie, and was supposed to star DJ Quells. Now, if you guys don't know who DJ Quells is, he's a dude from The New Guy. He's also in Hustle and Flow. He's a skinny dude that makes the beats and shit. And he was supposed to play Freddy. So this poster has been going around the internet for a very long time, and some people believed it. People like myself didn't believe it, but it turns out that there's actually some legs to this poster. So apparently, this was actually a real sales pitch for a Freddy Krueger movie that they were trying to get him to be a part of. And somebody at a convention went and got a picture of that poster printed out and had him sign it, and he had some things to say. So before I even push play, have you seen this poster floating around the internet?
Yeah, I didn't know what you were talking about, and then I had actually seen the picture, but I actually instantly dismissed it because I already straight away knew it looked fake, and it just looked unprofessional, and so I didn't pay attention. And then when you mentioned it, I was like, that really? You know, okay, you know. But the guy you're talking about, he's a skinny dude, and it's funny you said that because I think he was on a film called Road Trip. He's kind of like always the geeky one and the core or something like that. But the thing is, he was coming up a lot on my Facebook feed being interviewed, doing podcasts with people. And I watched and then all of a sudden I was enjoying what he was saying because he was on what's that geeky TV show with The Big Bang Theory. He was in that a lot. Okay. And I was like watching a lot, and not one point ever did he ever even bring up Freddy Krueger. And had there been anything to do with it, I would have, oh shit, and then looked at the post some more. There's zero. So straight away it's fake. But you never know. You might have something to tell me.
So this is the first song. If you guys are, again, this is from a convention, so let's check it out real quick.
Because this actually was a real thing, and they sent me the script, and it's just awful.
I don't doubt it.
It's so terrible, and so these are composites based on my facial, where my eyes are and my ears are. that's me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a version of my nose, but they think it's so good and it's so awful, and whoever does that plays that role with that script is going to be crushed.
Yeah, like every 6 months, I just see it, and then it gets shared like 5,000 times, and I'm like, there's no way.
All right, so that was him at a recent convention, and somebody brought the poster to him to sign, and it's the truth. Every time that picture gets shared, it gets shared a lot, and it gets shared. And this is my first time finding out that this shit was actually real. I didn't know that this was real. Based off of what he was saying, he's basically saying that somebody approached him. I don't know if it's a real studio. I don't know if this is like an indie project. Somebody approached him and said, "Hey, I want you to play Freddy. This is what we have in mind for what you would look like. And here's the script." And apparently he read the script and it was shit.
Well, all I can say is this, is that as far as I know, there's been a lot of red tape to do with Freddy Krueger for quite a while. It's so much to the point where there was a couple of interests, but it just came to the point where they was like, no, it's too much. And whether that's been sorted by now, I don't know. As I said with him, like he said, the picture looks awful. And that's why I didn't even pay it. I just dismissed it when I saw it. I was like, it just doesn't even look real. It looks badly made, you know. I will say this, though. A lot of people that won't know who the actor is, he's always playing that nerdy, geeky kind of, even on Hustle and Flow, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Watching him on these podcasts, he's older. He looks older, obviously. But he actually come across very likable and mature on the podcast that I've watched. And in fact, I kept watching him. And I know this is going to be sacrilege and everyone's going to, cancel me for this. I don't know if I'd be against the idea of him actually doing it, because after I would have said no previous to the podcast, but he's actually mature, and there's a mature actor in there. He talks about wanting to do, but he keeps doing these roles, like, and that's where the money's at. So I got to do it, But yeah, he just come across really mature and not the person you'd think he was. And I was like, you know what? Now you're saying this and all that, I wouldn't be against the idea. I mean, yourself, there'll be some people you would go, absolutely not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he could do it. Never know. But
yeah, I think so. But he said the script is terrible, and he says whoever picks that shit up is gonna fucking regret it. So
where would it have come from? Because, like, if it's a script, come from somewhere, then it either has to be an indie film, because anyone, if it was like from New Line Cinema, because that's where the house Freddy built, they said, then there would have to be some more legitimacy to it, and they probably would have got another actor. Do you know what I mean? And they would have.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's weird that they would approach him. Like, I feel like they would approach many people to kind of like try out, like to approach him out of all people, to be like, "Yo, we're interested in you."
But where is it now? Then,
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're interested in you
and me. We're in the movie business in a sense, and we are up to date with everything. We hear the smallest thing, even rumors, everything. We hear legitimate rumors, like we know when to dismiss something. And when have you heard anything, not even the slightest thing of this even being a thing for years? So,
dude, they're having a hard time freaking releasing the full complete set of Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K. I can only imagine them trying to like actually put out a movie. Because the rights are distributed. So certain companies own certain films. So in order to get them all released under 4K, you got to meet some sort of like agreement.
And this is the problem why there was no sequel to Freddy vs. Jason. The amount of red tape, they had ideas coming out of their ears, and there was so much red tape. Even with Hellraiser, they wanted
or Bruce Campbell, Ash.
Yeah, but they wanted what's his name from Hellraiser?
Pinhead.
No, but the actor or whatever.
Bradley.
Yeah, because that would have been, to me, people would love to see that, but red tape. And now all of those films, all those characters are just dormant. Do you know what I mean? It never happened. It's just ridiculous. So,
they could have made a lot of money off of horror verses, but they just never got around to doing it.
And the first one, that Freddy vs. Jason, should have been enough for them to go, you know what? forget the red tape. Let's share this shit now. No.
Yeah, you would have thought they would have expanded more on that, but I just wanted to bring that to light because again, I've seen that post a million times. I thought it was fake, and it was actually surprising that actually had some legs. But going ahead and segue into the next horror topic, a very, very huge horror IP is up for grabs, and there's some big heavy hitters that are eyeballing this IP. So if you guys are not familiar with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, apparently the IP for that is getting sold. You brought up a good point in the chat when you were just like, does that include everything, like including likeness, toys, and things like that? And honestly, I don't know. I would assume so, but or is it just like you just have the IP for the film? But
yeah,
anyway,
I mean, like if you buy something, do you get everything that it owns? Because if you were to sell Chainsaw Massacre, you're selling everything, and you'd be like, no, I'm still making shit on this. Because let's face it, people love the original 2 or 3, you know. I mean, I'm sure it ain't blowing, and also the remake and stuff like that. So they're still probably getting residuals and all kinds of stuff from it. So selling that would have to be quite a lot of money, or they have
either that or they would have to. I would say leasing it sounds like a better idea. Like
exactly,
basically saying like, oh, like I'll sell, like you guys can have it for 5 years and I'll take it back. That's basically what happened with Godzilla. Toho basically leased it to Legendary and was like, look, we'll let you have it for like X amount of years, X amount of movies. We'll come back to the table after X amount of movies and we'll see if it's lucrative enough. And then we could kind of like renegotiate
the deal. Let me ask you this then. If Godzilla was given to Warner Brothers or Legendary, whatever toy and all that stuff, does that still go to Warner Brothers, or do Toho get that as well?
Toho gets a profit.
All right, so they still get a cut of that too.
I think Toho gets a profit of the movie sales, and Toho gets a profit.
That would make sense then with the Chainsaw Massacre, because it is a big IP, and I mean it's not as big as it was, but it's still a very big horror icon IP. So you know it would make sense to lease it, but I don't know, maybe they run out of ideas.
Well, the heavy contenders are Paramount, Neon, A24, Netflix, and Jordan Peele's Monkey Paw. Those are the 5 people that are like really, really gunning for it. Now, in my opinion, I think that A24 and Neon are probably like my personal picks. Like if I had to choose like who on that list should get it, I would say A24 or Neon. Now, I would say Jordan Peele, but I've only seen him remake one horror movie and I didn't like it. So I don't know if I would 100% buy into Jordan Peele having that IP. He's supposed to do People Under the Stairs. It is yet to surface. So I don't want this to be one of those things where you get an IP and it just sits in the fucking corner waiting and ends up deteriorating. So, and then Netflix already had a crack at Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It wasn't all that great.
Actually, you know what? It wasn't great, but there was moments where it was all right. You know, I wasn't, you know, I think
watchable.
Yeah,
which is more than what I could say for some of the other sequels. But yeah, but still, I want it to be good, and I feel like if it's going to be good, we got to either go A24, we got to go Neon. You know, Paramount, I feel like it's just going to do the same thing, cookie cutter. It's going to be the same format. Netflix probably going to be the same format. It's not going to be anything special. Monkey Paw, I mean, maybe it might be something special, but at the same time, I haven't seen enough from Jordan Peele. Also, I'm not really into seeing like black hillbillies. I don't know if that's going to be something that he ends up doing. Like black hillbillies in the ghetto, black hillbillies in the ghetto and shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Could be in like Compton or some shit like that. You know,
right? Exactly.
But I will say this though, I would like to see a Jordan Peele version. I would be curious to see what he would do with it. You know what I mean? I would. I actually believe Netflix will get it because they've got the biggest amount of money and they buy everything. Do you know what I mean? And they have previous with the other one. I wouldn't mind seeing A24 or Neon because they're out of the box. They're always out of the box. There's something when they bring out a film. Sometimes they're awful, but you see at least that one that you didn't like was still out of the box. What was that one that was made in England? I can't remember.
Saint Maud.
No. There was another.
Saint Maud. We watched it, and
there was another one. Anyway, I can't remember at the top of my head. Yeah, I don't think you saw it. Huh?
The Green Knight?
Could be, yeah. No. It's I got now. You know what? I got to check this out. You'll know A24 movie UK.
Well, while you look that up, the thing about it though is at the end of the
Men.
Oh, I've never watched it. I was supposed to watch it. I never watched it.
Yeah, it was out of the box, but it was. I mean, I didn't like it. People did. It was way out of the box. But the thing with them and the Chainsaw Massacre, they have to keep certain elements in it because you can't change it too much. But I got a feeling like that they're gonna go balls to the wall, like, you know, with it. You know, Netflix will hold it down because we want everyone to watch it. But you know, Jordan Peele, I'd still be curious to see what he would do with it. You know, I would, because I don't like that last one he did. What was it about the aliens?
Nope.
Yeah, I was looking.
You didn't like Nope? I like Nope. I thought it was cool. I didn't like Us.
In it that I liked, but no, I liked obviously. Is it Get Out? What's the other one after that?
Us.
I actually didn't mind it. I didn't love it, but I didn't mind it. So you know, again, he is kind of.
You like Us more than you like Nope?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It just no stuck. I was like, I'm getting bored now. At least,
but I wanted to point something out. At the end of the day, whoever owns the IP has the last say. Their decision can be guided straight by who can offer me the most money,
really?
or their decision should go to, you know what, which company will actually do this franchise.
So you think they will think like that?
There's some people that are like, there's been a couple of times where I've heard about horror IP that's getting sold, and basically they turn down the money because they want the integrity of the character to stay intact. I've heard that happen before. That happened a lot with Jason. I think it was Jason. It was somebody. It was a horror character where it was like they definitely wanted to keep the sanctity of the character intact, and they were just like, nah, I'm not going to just sell it to anybody, or I'm not going to lease it to just anybody, because then it'll just be like a bunch of shit ass sequels.
Did the Chainsaw Massacre that was on Netflix do well?
I don't know, because that's a logistics thing. So like Netflix runs completely off of logistics.
If it did, because I mean, I remember people going on about it at the time. If it did do well, and they always come in with a shit ton of money, that's gonna go. To me,
but then here's the thing, though. Even if something makes a lot of money, like let's just say, like hypothetically, like it made a lot of money. Timing has a lot to do with it. If it came out around like Halloween time, and people want something to watch, of course they're gonna crack. And it's free for streaming because you have Netflix. Of course you're going to turn it on. So like the thing about that kind of data is that it can be kind of like misleading. You don't want to be like, oh, let's put out another sequel because this one was viewed a lot, and it was like people either hate watched it, or like freaking people just watched it because it was Halloween and it was something new to watch, you know. So you want to make sure that whatever it is has legs, because if it's going to be a direct sequel to whatever the last movie was, like people might not fuck with it. So at least that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. I would choose A24 if I had to, but
I would go A24 or Neon, because Neon is basically a baby A24. I mean, they put out a lot of interesting movies. So I would go Neon or A24. I didn't know Neon was a company that owned freaking the Alamo Drafthouse, and I know you don't know what that is, but it's like a small theater out here, like a theater chain. It started in Texas, and it's like really big on showing like foreign, international, indie movies and shit. Like they're really big on just like showing like independent film, and they're just really big into film. Earthquake. Yeah, so it's I didn't know that they own Neon, but that it makes a lot of sense why Neon comes off as very artsy. So one of the next topics is the rumor about the Godzilla.
That was a bad fucking impression. I thought I was going to do that. I was going to do Godzilla.
Like a cat, dude. I was like, what the hell was that, dude? It sounded like a cat getting his foot stepped on. So
it sounded good in my head.
One of the actors, hold on, let me figure out this fool's name because my thing messed up. One of the actors from the Godzilla movie that was recently announced, he's playing like a general or something. He recently, there he is, Matthew Modine So Matthew Modine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Who the hell is that? What movie is he in?
Oh, he was in. First of all, have you seen Full Metal Jacket? He's probably the most. Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, I've seen Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah, he's Private Joker. You could say he was the main character, and even though you remember the sergeant a bit more, but he was the main character. He was actually on The Dark Knight Rises. He was on this film. He was on loads of films in the 80s. But
who was he on The Dark Knight Rises?
He was he was like the police sergeant who wouldn't come out the door when
Stranger
Harry
Things?
Sorry?
He's on Stranger Things too? That's crazy.
Oh yeah, he has the white hair, and he also was the father on that remake of Wrong Turn. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, and Stranger
Things,
white hair or something.
I think he's the general in Stranger Things. Let me see. Yeah, he's some fucking general in this movie, and they announced that he was gonna be in the movie, and then a little bit afterwards, this fool Dr. Martin. He's Eleven's doctor or whatever. Okay, that makes sense. Anyway, so basically what happened is they announced that he was going to be in Godzilla, X Kong, Supernova. Last video that we did, we kind of speculated, or I speculated a little bit about who I think is going to be in the movie. But what this fool did was he started dropping on his Instagram. He rewatched Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, and he's like spamming pictures of like stills from that movie. And a lot of people are under the impression that, well, if you're watching that movie and you just got announced to being in Godzilla, and we're all assuming that, you know, Godzilla Supernova is a space-bound movie, and Space Godzilla was one of the people that thought to be in this movie, then are you confirming that this movie, that the villain is going to be Space Godzilla? And honestly, I think it's really the only way that you can kind of go. Because out of the possible monsters that Godzilla could face, Space Godzilla is probably one of the most lucrative ones. Because one, anything that has Godzilla's likeness is automatically going to do well because Godzilla has an iconic look. And I think that if they're basing it off of that alone, then this is probably going to make a lot of money. It's kind of like Mortal Kombat. Like who are some of the most popular characters in Mortal Kombat?
That new guy from the last film, what was his name? I'm joking. Scorpion, Raiden, Liu Kang.
The first guy you mentioned, Scorpion, right? Scorpion and Sub-Zero are super popular characters. So what did they do? They kept making fucking ninjas. You have Ermac, you have Noob Saibot, you have Reptile, you have Shrimmer, you have who else? Rain, right? You have Smoke. You have all of these different ninjas. They're just palette swaps. And this is kind of the same thing with Godzilla. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where it's just like your most lucrative thing to do is to just make a palette swap of Godzilla, which is technically Space Godzilla. So I think that this might low-key confirm that the villain in the Godzilla movie is Space Godzilla. Would you like a quick little backstory of Space Godzilla since you're not familiar with it?
I would love one. Yeah, go on. I'm joking.
All right. He said, I don't know who the fuck a Space Godzilla is, but sure. All right, so basically it's this. Godzilla fought this one monster called Biollante, right? There's two ways that they thought that it happened. Basically, some of Godzilla's cells ended up in space. And I guess Godzilla has this regeneration ability, and it mixed in with whatever was in space, and then it created a new being, which is Space Godzilla. This monster eventually comes back to Earth and tries to take over it. Now, this monster is kind of crazy because not only does it have like the atomic breath and the shit that Godzilla has, but it also has the ability to like create fucking crystals and shit, like these big ass crystals. So and it can throw shit at it. Apparently it has telekinesis too. It can pick up shit and throw shit at you. But so this monster's kind of like OP as shit. Anyway, to the point. The way that they thought it happened was when Godzilla died from Biollante, he the particles or whatever that disintegrated into the air, supposedly they thought that mixed with the space and some with a black hole and created a Space Godzilla. Or the time that freaking Mothra grabbed Godzilla and it flew off into space and killed his ass, they thought that was also another reason why Space Godzilla was created. But anyway, yeah, so basically it's somehow Godzilla's particles or whatever mixed with space, and this is how this being was created. Now, if you guys were paying attention to Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire, there's like some hieroglyphics on the wall, and on one of the scenes, it looks like Godzilla, but with some big ass wings. Like it looks like big wings. and a lot of people were already speculating back then that it was Space Godzilla. So we'll see. I think that that's a lucrative way to go about it. How would you feel about Godzilla fighting a clone of himself, even though he kind of already did that with Mecha Godzilla in the Godzilla versus Kong movie?
Yeah, you see, for me, I don't mind. And Space Godzilla for the win, if you ask me. But I know, all right, hardcore fans would love it, I suppose, you know. But I can imagine like a broader audience be like, you know, I don't know. But everyone loves smashing up shit in cities and stuff, so you never know. But yeah, I think they might have to change it up somehow, maybe. But again, hardcore fans, I'm all right with it, you know. I enjoyed. I didn't love the last one, but you know, it's smashing shit up. That's what's good. I hate the human parts of it all. I really just don't give a shit. Let's get on with it, you know. But
the last movie did good with the human parts. I gotta admit, I think I like the human character. That's probably the only Godzilla movie that I really like the human characters all the way through. When I watched the first Godzilla movie with Bryan Cranston, like the first half of the movie, I really enjoyed it until he died, and I was like, "Why did you fucking kill him?" Because now you ruined this movie.
Nobody, it felt like it was going somewhere. This film, do you know what I mean? And it still was all right, but you literally didn't see Godzilla. But anyway,
yeah, but yeah. So that's the news there. So you had a question for me, young sir. What was your question? I think you're wearing that shirt, so I think it's pretty obvious.
Second.
The hell? Out of nowhere.
Well, all right. So we all seen the new Superman trailer, the new, and it's got great. What would you say? Reactions to it, and everyone's loving it. People are saying it's the best trailer.
We're talking about the one where Lex Luthor is monologuing in the trailer, right? Okay.
And everyone's like raving about it. And I liked it. I do have a couple of nitpicks, but I do like it. I was really happy to see it.
I also think the CGI looks bad.
Well, that was one of the. I think the CGI looks really good, but there is moments where because it looks so good at places, then these small little things kind of took me out a little bit. It's like, oh, how did you get that wrong? But anyway, why didn't you like it?
All right, so one, let me be completely transparent. I'm not a fan of Superman. All right, but here's the thing. I mean, I'll just this could be somebody just stumbling across this video for the first time. I don't want to just come off as like, oh, like he's just going against the grain and shit.
He's just a hater. He's a Snyder fan. That's the problem.
Yeah, of course, dude. Yeah, hell Snyder. Anyway, so freaking, I'm not a fan of Superman at all, but I did enjoy Man of Steel, right? Now, but I also understand people's gripes with Man of Steel, especially because when you're a fan of a certain character and you want to see them portrayed in a certain light, and when it's not happening, then I can understand why people hated it. But at the same time, Man of Steel was an enjoyable movie. I don't like Superman, and I was able to watch that movie, and I think I've watched it again. So that says a lot. All right, I'm willing to watch movies, and I'm willing to like give characters, even though I don't like them, I'm willing to give them a shot. So for me to say Man of Steel,
original Superman,
I have not. I've still haven't.
Right, so you didn't give that a shot. All right.
Hey, I mean, I'm planning.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
I've told myself that I'm going to do it eventually. I'll get around to it. But anyway, to the point. Watching this trailer, again, I've said this originally. I really feel like the trailer is kind of like carried by the score, right? I thought the other trailer, a lot of it was the score carried it a lot, and this one kind of like made me feel like whatever I just said was solidified in my opinion, because as Lex Luthor is monologuing, which honestly his monologue is actually really fucking good, by the way. That monologue was dope as shit. I don't like him as Lex Luthor, by the way. He looks like Agent 47 from that fucking Assassin game. He looks stupid as shit.
Yeah, I know, but you see, after you've watched Jesse Eisenberg, you're like, fuck yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was fucking
and
ridiculous.
He is actually a good actor. That Nicholas Hoult, he actually is a good actor.
I believe it. I'm just saying he looks weird as shit. Like, I don't know. Like, he looks like, anyway, I don't want to talk. But so the monologue itself was good. But as you're watching the trailer, it just feels like a regular ass superhero movie. It doesn't feel like anything special. Like, example, I feel like this was James Gunn's opportunity to actually make like a movie and not just make like a regular ass superhero movie. So examples of like what I'm talking about is like The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight doesn't feel like a regular ass superhero movie. It feels like a piece of cinema. Even like Eternals, like I feel like Eternals doesn't feel like a regular ass superhero movie. It feels like a piece of cinema, like they're actually trying to tell a story. And there's not too many movies that actually try to do that. But I feel like with Superman and his character, I feel like that's one movie where you can just kind of like blend the superhero and cinematicness perfectly together. Like if you could take a character like fucking Batman and make it kind of like a working piece of cinema, I'm pretty sure you could do that with Superman as well. But this shit just felt like a regular ass superhero trailer. Like it felt like it could be a Captain America trailer. Felt like it could be a Spider-Man trailer. Like it just fit right into that cookie cutter Marvel MCU format trailer, and that's what it just felt like. What looking at the visuals. Also, this movie seems like a clusterfuck. Like it seems like there's way too much fucking shit going on. Like, and I really don't think they're going to be able to tell a cohesive story in the runtime. You have aliens attacking, you have fucking Lex Luthor attacking, you have these other characters that are being implemented and added to the story that are other superheroes. And I feel like, how in the world are you going to tell a very cohesive story with this villain in the background, and then also you have another villain who's yet to be named, right?
Yeah,
isn't there like some shadowy?
See, we don't. I don't really know who's the big bat. I mean, obviously Lex Luthor is. Right?
Isn't there like a shadowy guy in the fucking trailer with
yeah? See,
the heat
to
ray
me,
vision?
that's Ultraman, right? But the only reason I say that is because he's got a U that looks like Ultraman, even though his costume is completely different and he's from another universe, you know. So I can't be sure. And because I stopped reading Superman comics after the death of Superman with Doomsday, I was a huge fan all the way up to that, and they killed him off, and that was it. And he brought him back, of course. But so if there's something a newish character after that time, I don't really know. But so I'm not
that's
sure.
Already a lot of characters to keep up with. You got Lex Luthor, you got the two henchmen, the chick that changes her hands and shit. You got that big ass robot that he fights. You got the fucking kaiju that he fights. You got that big ass thing in the background that's in the city. That thing that's lighting up or whatever while he's sitting in the room with her. There's a lot of shit going on in this movie, and it seems like a fucking clusterfuck, dude. Like I feel like there's too much going on in this trailer to like really like condense. And then on top of that, like the dog. It's cool as shit that you got Crypto. That's dope. But at the same time, like I don't know really how the dog fits into this story perfectly. That scene too, where the dog hits the guy and then he hits the guy, and then the teeth fly and hit the fucking screen. I thought that was cheesy as shit. I don't know. It's just, to me, it just feels like a really atypical superhero movie. It's like nothing special. I feel like this is going to be very cookie cutter.
All right. So this is my cut on it, right? So I liked it, but doing the Dark Knight type thing has been done already. So with Man of Steel, they were trying to do searching for who I am and will the world accept me and that dark tone and all that. And with the original Superman, Christopher Reeve, it was played for real, if you get what I mean. They had fun elements in it, but there was a down to earth kind of feel about it. So we've done all that, yeah. And Man of Steel did okay, but now with James Gunn, I think you're right. It did look like a Marvel movie to me. It did. It has all those elements. It felt like one of the Spider-Man trailers as well. Like, you know, it was fast paced and good and fun. But the thing about Superman is he's like the day and Batman was the night. You know, so we've got to have bright. It's got to feel good. It's got to have some fun in it. Like Man of Steel, I was like, oh my God, is this a Batman movie? Do you know what I mean? Oh, don't get me wrong. I like Man of Steel. But as I say, so to me, it looks fun. And in the comics, there was always so much going on, even in one book of it, a comic book of it. It was like, damn, you know? And I got a feeling, don't know for sure, but that kaiju you see on it, I reckon that's just going to be part of an intro. I just feel it's going to be an intro, and that'll be the last you see of it. And there'll be characters in it, I think. But I believe in James Gunn. I really do think he's going to, because he has to. He has to bring this. He's got to bring his A game for this. This is the beginning of the universe. Now, what I didn't like was, and it's very small, but all right, there was one scene at the end when he's flying, and I felt it looked good, the flying, but the CGI didn't, you know. And I'm like, the rest of the CGI looks so good that I wouldn't have shown that on the trailer until it was perfect. But then you see Lois Lane flying some kind of spacecraft.
Oh, isn't that
And
wasn't that Ultraman spacecraft?
I don't know, but I was like, it better
Like
be
it looked like a
good.
U.
Did it have a U? It just looked round to me. Yeah, but I was like, this better have a good fucking reason why she can just get up into some spaceship and fly it. Do you know what I mean? Because that's just gonna, here we go, strong independent woman, we don't need no man sort of thing. And I don't mind that.
What do you call it, lady boss?
Yeah, lady boss, right? But the thing, I don't mind her being a lady boss and doing all that. It's just you can't just jump into any old thing and fly it. So it has to be a good reason, you know. So, you know, that's the only nitpick. I was like, oh. So everything else was fine. And also, you know, you were saying there's a lot of characters in it, and for a trailer, that's brilliant because there's loads to show. But in the film, it may not be as brilliant. Do you get what I mean? There might be too much. But for a trailer, you're you know, brilliant. Then you watch the movie.
It's like Civil War or like Endgame and Infinity War, right? You see all these characters and you're like, damn, dude, how they gonna fit all these? It's dope that we get to see every character, but it's like, how are you gonna
build up for it over the years?
Yeah, but see the thing exactly. But the difference is Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Those movies already had most of those characters had independent movies already, right? So you kind of already had an idea of like who they were, what they were about, so on and so forth. Like you already had an introduction.
Yeah.
This is Superman's first movie in the new universe, and I feel like it's kind of a bad idea to make him share the screen with so many other characters. And I get it, you know, James Gunn is trying to introduce him to other characters so that he can eventually, you know, give them their solo movies later down the line or whatever the case may be. But I think you have to be very, very careful with the way that you're doing this because you want to make sure that you're not taking too much away from Superman. You know?
Yeah. Well, I think I believe in James Gunn. Yeah, I really do. And I'm looking forward to seeing, I haven't been looking forward to seeing a superhero movie in about 10 years. No, I don't know, a few years. I've got the superhero fatigue. Even though I'm wearing the t-shirt, I really just don't care anymore. Yeah. Like Thunderbolts, I just didn't care. And I know you said it was good. And,
Thunderbolts was actually pretty good.
Yeah, but it's just like, but even when I heard Superman was announced, I thought, all right, James Gunn. And it took actually until a couple of months ago until, all right, I'm kind of getting into this spirit now, you know, and seeing the trailers. Yeah, all right. So obviously I do not like the costume. I didn't like Man of Steel's costume either, but this one just looks all right. But I can ignore that. But yeah, to me, it looks exciting and I can't wait. It's about 2-3 weeks now. So, you know, I'm going to be at the door the night before, sitting out the front, banging to get in, waiting in front of the queue, even though no one else will be there. But yeah, I can't wait.
Because everybody else bought their tickets online.
That's it. I'm old school. I just turn up, you know, but yeah.
But yeah, so I mean that's really just it. I just don't know how this movie's going to just turn around. I don't know how this movie's going to be based off of what I got in the trailer. It just looks like chaos, and hopefully the movie's a lot more cohesive than the trailer looks. But again, like I'm just getting like regular MCU vibes, and that's not good from a person that literally just came from the MCU. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because because even Eternals was a bright movie in certain times, and because it was supposed to emulate the concept of these people were like gods, you know. So he can definitely do it in this movie. It's just that I don't know. I feel like he needs to really like mash the two together.
I know what you're saying, and if it was any other director, I would be. But I just got a feeling because he really knows about comics, like unlike Zack Snyder and all that. Yeah, and he literally knows all about. He was offered Superman before, but he decided to do Suicide Squad instead. They gave him whatever you want. He said, "I'll do that." But yeah, I just believe because he knows so much about comics and he knows so much about it. and every film I've seen he do, I've enjoyed every one. I think, as far as I know, So yeah, I mean, he brought Guardians of the Galaxy, who nobody knew, literally nobody knew who I got, and made him one of the biggest.
See, but that's easy to do when you have characters with no expectations.
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
true.
easier to take a bunch of characters that nobody really knows about and
But
make
there
them
was a lot of them, and there was a lot going on in it, and he's still able to do it.
Yeah, but then it's like everybody knows Superman, so it's like you fucked this up, dude. People are at your doorstep with pitchforks.
No, it's not only fucking this up; he's destroying the whole new universe they're building up to. Do you know? That's what I'm saying. Just a quick note. I'm just throwing this out there, and we'll see if I'm right. At the mid-credit scene, I got a feeling we'll get some kind of Batman or reference.
We have to. We have to, because that's the next movie. But
I reckon they've already got their Batman. They just haven't announced it yet.
But there's also the conflict too about what's dude doing the Batman 2 and how that's like, what is it, man? I don't know, but the Batman 2
me was stupid as well, because people are going to get confused of the Batman and then Batman the Bold and the Brave, and it's just going to be like maybe too many, and people just going to switch out. That's what I would do. But Batman is a huge IP, so
that honestly, that's one of the, I think next to Superman is probably one of the most popular ones. But
at the moment he's bigger than Superman.
Oh yeah, I mean, of course, because freaking Superman hasn't put out a movie.
Because as well that after Superman Returns, people started zoning out, and then you got. I'm going to say this about Batman.
That's the Superman movie where he got shot on the eyeball.
Yeah, Superman Returns. Yeah,
I tried to watch it.
Though, I remember, because I've always been a Batman, obviously DC and all. I'm always been a big Batman fan, right? And I remember the Batman Begins was coming out, and the last one we had before that was Batman and Robin. The one everyone hated. So Batman Begins was coming, and I had not long seen the American Psycho and what's the other one? Equilibrium. You seen Equilibrium?
Equilibrium
with Christian Bale. It's the future where no one's allowed to have emotions and shit like that.
Oh, is that the movie that's tied to? Is that tied to like the district? That district movie in like Elysium, or no? That's something different.
No. But I just liked Christian Bale, right? He was announced as Batman, and I was like, oh shit, yeah. And then I started, because I didn't have the internet as easy back then, 2004 or 5, yeah. And I did as much research, and I was all hyped about it. And nobody else was interested in this Batman movie, yeah. Nobody. And I remember like telling everyone, oh yeah. And I remember going to at midnight screening because I was so looking forward to it and loved it. And you know what? I went again the next day, and there was hardly anyone in there. But all of a sudden, it did well, and The Dark Knight comes out, and then everyone was a Batman fan. Oh, it was always.
Everybody was happy about that Joker card at the end of the movie. That's what it was.
Yeah. But everyone then was, I've always been a Batman fan. Yeah, well, nobody turned up to see the first one much, So, everyone's a Batman fan. But since then, Batman has been the biggest IP. It's huge since those movies, and obviously everything that, I don't know if he's bigger than anyone in Marvel as such, but yeah, he's huge. So to set off the new DCEU, you're going to have to throw in some reference. That's what I'm saying. I reckon they'll throw in a reference or something in the mid-credit scene. Everyone will go, oh shit, and get excited for the next, because that's what they need, So that's all I'll say about that.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the news topics today. That was a fun little discussion that we had as well. But let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think about our Superman discussion? What do you guys think about Space Godzilla probably being a monster? Who do you think that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre IP should go to? Did you actually know that damn Fred movie was real? Let us know in the comment section down below.
Have you even heard about it?
No, I'm pretty sure they heard about it. I'm telling you, that shit made its rounds. It got to the point where people were making articles about it, talking about some company bought it and was hiring Rob Zombie to do it. Like there was actual like traction behind it. Like articles were played.
You're right. Articles about it. The monsters, do you know? And I was like, oh shit, do you know?
Oh my god, dude! Don't even talk about that. But anyway, I didn't even see it, but that should look terrible.
Yeah, I didn't watch it all. I was like, I'm out. I'm done. But
But anyway, make sure to hit this man up and subscribe to his channel and motivate him to keep doing his thing. He just dropped a review for Marshmallow, and it's actually a pretty damn good review. So
yeah, it is. But no one really knows of the movie, so it's a shame. As I say, I don't want to go into it because it's a different subject, and you want to go. It's just a shame some of these independent films that are as good as this movie just fly under the radar. Do you know what I mean? So if anyone's interested, go and watch Marshmallow and my review and his review. But
it's on every streaming platform. It's on Amazon. It's on.
Oh, it's on Amazon, is it?
So it's on Apple. Yeah, it's on Fandango, Apple, Amazon. Anything where you can buy like movies, it's up there. It's on all streaming platforms.
It really is worth it. So give it a shot.
Yeah, I think it's worth it too. But shout out to Del Purgatorio. Anyway, that's all I got. Let me know if you agree, disagree, whatever the case may be. Drop a comment in the comment section down below. And you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you guys are having a great day. Adios, homies.
See ya.
See y'all.
I want to play a game. Subscribe now. The choice is yours. You're now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop.